Michele, thank you everyone for joining for the next episode of the Human Libraries of Procurement. Again, we call it Human Libraries of Procurement because we have the human element that is the most important thing in procurement. And we have a lot of knowledgeable people who impart and share knowledge. And that's how I came to know about procurement. That's how a lot of new guys come to know about procurement. And one of those human libraries that we have today is Michele. Thank you, Michele, for doing this. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hello, super team. Hello to everyone is connected. I'm really glad to be here with all of you. And thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Right. So, Michele, when I started talking to Michele about this show, the one condition that he told me to appear for this show was that he would be considered to be appearing on this show on his own personal capacity. He is not representing any company, not his own that he's working or any other company. So we will not refer anything of his working company or anything. It is strictly on his personal capacity and no references anywhere. So having said that, now we will start talking about his career. I see that you started off in 1989, if I'm not wrong, with IT, and your role is basically more of a bridge between procurement and the IT department. Can you tell us a little bit more about how your role grew or how you started off and how it went from there?
Yes. But first of all, I want to say in this. I began to write on an Alchemy network almost since it was born this spring, and on a LinkedIn from January 2023, because I like to share my ideas, my expertise, and I think that uh, there is three words that I think that I use as my guide: learn, create, and share. So I like to share my ideas, my thoughts, my expertise, and I like to try to be useful to other professionals.
Right.
As you said, I'm not on Alchemy or on other professional network to talk about my company. I'm here to share my ideas, to share my expertise, and to trying to generalize it so to be useful to other professionals. Uh, I always had the chance to meet and to know great professionals like you, and like many others, and I like to discuss my ideas and to learn from each other. As you said, I started in 1989. I started in IT. In the field of business software application maintenance and development. I covered different roles over time. Then eventually I started to work in IT quality. IT
Right.
quality, defining and writing guidelines, technical specification, contract constraints, and also in terms of support and monitoring of our project teams in their activity of business software development and system integration, and in their relationship with the suppliers.
Right.
Uh, I've been working in IT governance. I'm still working in IT, in particular in IT governance. Um, I've been working in IT governance for many years, and in my role, I'm a bridge. I'm a sort of bridge between the IT department to which I belong and the procurement department.
Mhm. Right.
So I have to know, I have to understand two words: the words of IT and the words of procurement. I have to speak to understand two languages.
Right.
The language of IT and the language of procurement. IT about services, about pricing models, about technical specification, and the world of IT for contracts, for process that create. And then I have to, in collaboration with my colleagues of procurement, I have to integrate these two worlds.
Right. That's a very interesting role, actually. If you see that has two of my favorites. I would still place procurement as the first one for me, and then IT. But I think you can have a different view of it. But since we are talking about this, tell us how important it becomes that somebody from IT or any other department for that matter is in collaboration with procurement. How important is it? How does it benefit the company?
I think that the collaboration between the two worlds, I'm talking about IT, but it is the same with every business function within the company. I think that a collaboration is the fundamental of success of a good contract and so on. Talking about IT, the IT for a medium, a big company, the IT is like a nervous system. It covers
Right.
everything from the PCs used by the employees, about people to people interconnection and communication, business software application, services, products, IT infrastructure, cybersecurity services.
Mm-hmm.
It's a context in evolution. It's a never evolving context, and it needs contracts,
Right.
services, relationship with supplier,
Right.
and I think that in my position, in my role, is a good thing because. IT needs contracts and needs the process of creating contracts. It is a complex function, as every complex business function. It has
Right.
an ecosystem of contracts, activities, suppliers, because there is not only one need, but there is really, really many needs, activity, process. And I think that I like my role because I have the chance to define together with all the parties. I define the tools. Let's call it them tools: contract,
Mm-hmm.
service definition, pricing models,
Right.
relationship with suppliers, and so on. And I have the chance to define these tools, let's call them tools, and to connect the needs and all the goals of the IT department to
Right.
contracts, suppliers with their entrepreneurial responsibilities and their capabilities
Mm-hmm.
that are evolving over time.
Right. So I see that obviously you like IT a lot because you have done it for so long. It has to be a liking. What are the things that you like about procurement? Because you are working with procurement as well. What are the things that you like about it?
Um, I like the we have needs and goals
Mm-hmm.
about companies, about business function, about procurement itself.
Right.
So collaborating with procurement to trying to satisfy those needs and to achieve those goals, all the goals. I think that it's difficult things because it needs knowledge, expertise, and so on. But I think that it's also beautiful things because it's related um, to to people to connect the various parts of the company, and
Right.
to access to the market. About this, I think I I believe in two ideas: uh,
Mhm.
teamwork and
Right.
partnership.
Right.
I always say that a contract is the outcome of the teamwork a teamwork made
Right.
by procurement function, business function, and legal function.
Right.
No one of these part of these actors, no single one of these actors can create a good contract working alone, because
Right.
procurement are experts in contracts, are experts in the process that starts from need and goals and ends with the awarding of the contract. But it needs the knowledge and the expertise of the business function, because the business functions knows people of business function knows the needs, the activity, the process, the service definition, what they want as a service. Consider a complex business function. I'm talking about IT, but I think that every complex business
Right.
function has a situation like this. There, um, every business function have their needs, have their goals, has their direction to follow, like
Mhm.
a roadmap, like services that are evolving through time. Of course, the third actor is the legal function with its
Right.
support about laws and regulation, particularly if are not only related to a country, but
Mhm.
if it covers more countries. Okay, and the second aspect is about partnership.
Mhm.
Uh, we often read about stakeholders engagement and the supplier partnership. Why? Why only engagement? Why? Why it's an unbalanced equilibrium?
Right.
Why only engagement? I like partnership because stakeholders, a business function, but let's generalize in with the word stakeholders. The stakeholders
Right.
and procurement must work together with
Mhm.
their needs, because also the procurement has needs and goals. The business function has needs and goals. They must work to put them together to find the the best solution and to access to the market in the best condition with the best request, and trying to get from the market the best proposal, the best offer that covers aspects like value and cost
Mhm.
optimization.
Right.
And consider another thing that mm, talking about partnership, um, they are not related only to decision to collaborate. That means that they work together as a teamwork in the process of creating a contract. But also, a partnership is like another way to see this partnership. It's a long-term relationship between
Right.
two parts of the company. Mm. This long relationship means that it's not related to a single contract. It's related to the ecosystem of activity, process, and contracts of
Mhm.
the stakeholder. That means they must choose together the sourcing strategy that
Right.
could not end simply with a contract, but
Mhm.
maybe they could find a sourcing strategy and a sourcing solution that create a contract, that create twin contracts between more suppliers, that create a framework agreement maybe for an holding company and their sub company,
Right.
so that the negotiation about prices and condition and so on is made centrally and taking economy of scale, for example. The sourcing strategy cover all the ecosystem of the contracts, not just a single contract, and it needs a long-term relationship between the party.
Right. Right. So yeah, one of my earliest roles were about contract management, and what we were doing where we were sending the contract to the supplier, and they used to redline those contract clauses, and they used to send it back to us. And we used to go to and fro and negotiate with the suppliers and negate those red lines. And one of the components that came out was what you said very well, that there are three pillars on this thing. One is the stakeholder, who has the risk assessment on his own way, like the objective and the goals. The procurement, who is mostly the commercial aspect of the risk assessment, and the legal, who is actually having the knowledge about what the clause means and what the impact would be on a legal basis. So if tomorrow, if something goes to the court, the legal guy would be the one who would be defending it. So we used to, all three of us, we used to sit together and we used to figure it out, that what needs to go on with these contracts. So very nice point.
About this, I just ended a work with a certain thematic, and we worked together. Procurement, compliance, legal, and in my case, the IT department. It was really interesting because there are more point of view of the same question, and
Right. Yes.
we collaborate, we take decision together, we explain each one its own point of view, from a legal point of view, a procurement point of view, an IT or some other business function point of view, to create a contract, and also in the phase of the execution of the contract.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it's really important.
Yeah, because at that point of time, I think viruses were the top, danger for any organization. We are talking about 2000s when I was starting off, and we were very much concerned that there should not be any corrupted CDs or any data that is with virus and all that. It's still there, but it was even more danger at that point of time. And all three of us, we look at this thing in a different way. Procurement looks at data corruption or malware at a different point. Stakeholder might look at a different point, and legal might look at a different point. So very valid point, actually. Contracts is one of the main important thing, and it is about the risk mitigation that is the most important thing about contracts. So very nice point to start with. I would get back to contracts as well, but before I proceed, I wanted to let the audience also know that if anybody has any question, please put it on the chat. You can put it now or later on as well. Whenever we have time, we will take those questions. So thank you for that. Now, from a stakeholder's point of view, now that we are talking about contract, I'll just get a little deeper on that. Procurement gets a lot of negative publicity that we are only bothered about cost. Do you think that is a problem, or how do you think procurement can handle this situation better?
I think that all the part of the company has its needs and goals. And putting that together, we can put together many points of view. Cost savings is one point of view. I actually don't like the word cost savings. I like cost optimization.
Right.
For a simple thing, what is cost saving? Saving about what? If don't take the cost and put together with the value, I have a partial view. Can I have a good value, a better value? Better value means uh, uh, that I can satisfy my needs better, but also that
Mhm.
I can get a competitive advantage against other company because maybe I pay more than the past, but I have really good services and advanced services respect of the past. And so for that advanced solution, I needed to negotiate the better price that could be
Right.
higher than the past. But is this reason because I like the word optimization, not simply
Right.
I pay for the value. I pay and negotiate for the best combination between value, availability, capabilities on the market, costs, price, and so on. An
Right.
example of this is also about the pricing models, because if you look only to the price, we have a really partial view. We should think also in terms of pricing model, because maybe I have a pricing model that gives me more flexibility respect of the past.
Mhm.
So cost savings is important, okay, but is just a part of the question. And
Mhm.
I think that procurement has has an important role in try to get the best cost, the best price, not only in terms of tariffs, rate, and so on, but looking uh, all together the things, and so cost optimization. And I think
Yes.
that the procurement has an important role, really important role in this aspect.
Right. So yes, the best value at the best price. I think that would be nice. Um, yeah. So procurement has to play a bigger role. Look at the bigger picture, because from the stakeholders' point of view, it is the value that that he is looking at. The price is the cause of that value rather than the value being the cause of the price. So yeah, so it is the value that is more important to him in that way.
It's
Um,
together, good together things, because
mhm.
stakeholders has a budget of their
Right,
expenses. So it's also a goal of the stakeholders to have the best price, the cost optimization. It's a goal of the procurement as a company, a function in the company that is specialized in contracts and in negotiation and so on. But it's also a goal of the stakeholders, because they have a budget, and the better price means a better use of their budget for the things they have to do.
right. And as you mentioned, the post that you started off in Alchemy or in LinkedIn, where you have the learn, create, and share. I see there is a very popular post from you, which is for the what if analysis. So can
Yeah.
we talk about that what if analysis and how it is used and where to use and how to use it?
Yes. When to use it? Always. I'm going to
Yes.
explain my idea.
Hmm.
For writing or reviewing, writing, if mm, or reviewing a contract, maybe that is proposed by a supplier, or writing a contract with our ends. In this, a contract has technical specification, pricing models, performance parameters, and so on. It needs, of course, deep knowledge, deep expertise. But I always say that there is another skill that is really, really important, and that we have to nurture over time. That is imagination. Imagination
Right,
of possible scenarios, because we
right,
can write a contract clause, but we have also to think about what are the scenarios in which I could apply that contract clause, or a contract definition, for example, or a pricing model. Thinking about the possible scenario helps us to complete the definition of contract clause, service definition, and so on. And scenarios could be positive scenarios. I have a situation, I have a service definition. Okay, what are the possible scenarios in which I could apply that service definition? Okay, but there are also negative scenarios.
Right.
Negative scenarios, and this is the field of the what if. What if,
Right.
cioè, that is what happens when things are going wrong.
Right.
And um, this is the field of the imagination. Try to think about wrong situation from many point of view. Think it a wrong situation, and define what action to do accordingly. This is
Right.
really important because let's consider an example. In my contract, there is a situation in which the supplier has an obligation to satisfy um, in the favor of the customer. Okay, but if you just say about this obligation, the question could be the what if. What happens if the supplier doesn't satisfy this application in a short time? He
Right.
has just an application. He can satisfy my obligation at the end of the contract. So thinking what if helps us to define a timeline, a time limit, an event specification, a milestone, something that define also when this obligation, within what limit this obligation must be satisfied. And
Right.
this is negative scenarios, but we are also in the easy things. But there are situations in which maybe the supplier don't respect its obligations. And so we can have two situations describing what happens, what actions must be done against the supplier that is not respecting its obligation. Another way is about contractual actions. Contractual actions may be penalties, claim for damages, and in the worst case, a contract termination. Mm.
Right.
So, what if is really important because helps us to complete the definition of what you are writing. And this is about contract clauses, service definition, pricing model definition, also about that.
Right.
And important, really important, this what if is not only about the supplier, is even valid for customer,
Right.
because also the
Yeah.
customer may happen
Right.
that the customer
Right.
doesn't respect what is defined. And what happens when the customer itself doesn't respect, because suppliers and the customer are right and obligation are valid for together, the suppliers
Right.
and the customer is a form of also a respect of the parties.
Right. Yes. And I think what if also gets you to the alternatives, right? So it gets you to the partner. That if what if this doesn't work, then you have the partner ready.
Absolutely, negotiation, this is fundamental. What
Right.
if
Yes.
I try to follow the path, but
Mhm.
if I don't have an alternative, it's difficult to have a real comprehension of what
Right.
has happened and what is on the market, what the supplier are proposing. And
Mhm.
give us also strengths in negotiation.
Right, yes. And we have two comments from Rodrigo. One is, I wish all procurement people listen to Michele. Price to negotiation was so off. So that's a fair
Thank
point.
you, Rodrigo. Thank you, Rodrigo.
He has a follow-up question. He says, Michele, what are your thoughts and recommendation on contract cost reviews? So on contract cost reviews, what are your thoughts?
Sometime there are, I think, two situations. One situation about what if that we said before, we said earlier, that an action defined within the contract and an action is external to the contract. I have defined a contract and prices with a supplier. For example, in last years, there is in many countries an high inflation. So
Right.
the contract could define a rule for example, for have an update of the price that can take in the consideration about the inflation. This is also, if I remember well, something that the World Bank organization suggests. Another aspect is when the price of the raw materials change really in a really strong matter. Maybe they could be higher, but they could be lower because there could be a situation in which the raw materials there is a drop in the price of the raw materials. In this case, and I think this is external of the contract because we have a contract. The rules inside the contracts are not enough to manage this situation, so we could take the supplier and meet the supplier to do a renegotiation. I think that is important also another thing. Consider the possibility of multiple contracts. If I have a contract with only a supplier, I depend on that supplier. But if I have for the same kind of products, more supplier, maybe they are working in different countries for the same products. Maybe I could respect the contracts, but simply go to do my purchases with the contract at lower prices because or negotiate a situation in which having more contracts, I have again a partner.
Right, yes. Now I wanted to discuss about the pricing model first. So you touched the pricing model a little bit. If you want to discuss something in details about the pricing model, what kind of pricing models can we implement, and which one to use when and all that.
Okay, I can tell you a thing that can be far from procurement. Last week, I take my car to the mechanic for a periodic check. And on the wall, there are hanging a set of tools. The mechanic choose the appropriate tools depending on the activity he has to do. And for price is the same. And for prices model is the same. It's absolutely the same. When writing or reviewing, as always, a pricing model, I think that my personal method is this. The first question we have to ask to ourselves is how do I want to talk with the supplier about the service price? That is also what do I want to be the supplier's entrepreneurial responsibility about the service price. This is fundamental. This is the first question because maybe for my service, I like a fixed fee, like Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime has an annual fixed fee. Maybe I like that way. So it means
Right.
that I define in the negotiation, in the contract, the fixed fee, and then so my decision is that I don't want to talk with the supplier about the prices because they are
Mhm.
defined in the contract as a fixed fee. Maybe I want to pay for example, for each service request or for a single object. So I want to relate these to other things about
Mhm.
effort, days, about object, about so. So this is the first question. The second question is what is the relationship between the service volumes and the service price?
Right.
Are they related? Okay. Yes, not, if yes, how?
Mhm.
A unit rate price, a set
Right.
of volume price, and so on. Third question, the relationship between the service complexity and the service price. Uh,
Right.
I, I can make two examples about the delivery, for example. Delivery of products in a country, delivery of
Mhm.
products in more country in a continent, or
Right.
intercontinental deliveries. There are a form of complexity. Another form of complexity is about, for example, service assistance to employees. In our company, there are ordinary employees, but there can be a little set of critical employees that needs a fast response. This is a form of complexity. Top manager
Mhm.
usually have a faster response than ordinary employees. This is a form of complexity. The first question is about the relationship between the service volume magnitude and economy of scale.
Right.
Do we have higher volumes? Maybe we can negotiate and put in the pricing model some economy of scale, for example, for level of volumes.
Right. Volume
The, la-
reductions. Yes.
the last question is about the when. The
Mhm.
when with the what uh, what is the periodicity of in which I calculate the service price for each request, monthly, annually,
Right.
quarterly,
Milestones.
and within that period.
Right.
When at the start of the period, for example, a service price defined with an estimation of volumes of the period during the period for each request at the end of period as the total of service requests, for example, made in the period.
Mhm.
Responding to these 5 questions, we can have the idea to write down um, a pricing model that covers what we want to do. And I put the light on the first question. How do we want to talk with the
Right.
supplier about the software? Because this is really important. This is really important because this links the pricing model to the service definition. If I
Mhm.
define a service, I also define how I want to talk with the supplier. We can say that from a technical and partial economical point of view, the price model definition is a part of service definition. If I have the best service definition, but a bad pricing model is a problem. And in this,
Right.
obviously, is really important. The collaboration between procurement is absolutely fundamental. The collaboration between procurement and the stakeholders for
Right.
experiences in writing pricing models. And as always, everyone has their needs and goals. Goals of savings, of cost optimization, pay the right price for the services, and so on.
Right. One other follow-up question that Alex had was, how do you bring sustainability or social ethics expectation into a contract? Often maybe an exception or as a legal obligation. So what would be your
What
views on that?
the question of Alex is really important because
Mm.
first of all, we have to respect and in whatever we are purchasing, whatever we are doing, we must have the maximum respect for the people and the environment.
Mhm.
So there are laws about that, there are regulations about that, but I think that in the contract we must put important aspect about this, because
Right.
if there are situations in which there are no respect for people who are working for us, no matter if they are people of the supplier, of sub-supplier, of in the chain of the service, that it's a ethical problem. And I think that um, we have to respect people and the environment
Right.
far more than simply it's okay against the law, far more than
Right.
that. Mm. I remember some message with Alex, some comments about
Mhm.
uh, when we ask a service, we, mm, for example, related to the pricing model, we can say, okay, I need this. All the organization, all the process is up to you, therefore, their supplier. But it's important also that whatever is the organization, there must be the maximum respect for people and the environment. Absolutely.
Mhm. Right. We have one more question from Perima. She's saying, hi, Michele. Question on contract for EPC, pre-qualification or assessment phase. What is the most important element from your experience to take into account to avoid quality disputes and how to protect that?
Okay, I think that there could be four level about this one. The first, standard regulations, the respect of the international standards about uh, something, standard regulation and laws, um, prescriptions about quality, for example, materials, for example, about healthy treatment of the materials against people and so on. This is one aspect. Another aspect is what we can put in the contract for a predefined. So laws, first aspect, standard regulations, international standards, second aspect. Third aspect, what do we put into the contract? Like technical specification. I just
Mhm.
want a glass. Okay, but in the technical specification of my contract, I must
Right.
define what aspects, what quality levels about my glasses. But it's also related, for example, against the quality of software, for example.
Mhm. Right.
Aspects of cybersecurity is an aspect also about quality. A bad written code is a problem for cybersecurity, for sustainability aspects, because a
Mhm.
code that asks a greater amount of resource, electrical computers lives on electricity. So
Right.
that is also a bad written code. That means that when I change programmer, when I change supplier, there's a
Mhm.
problem in the maintenance of this code, for example. Some of those aspects can be written in the contract. The fourth level is when I define with the supplier, for example, for a purchase order of a new product, we can say, okay, there is laws, there is international standard, there is what they say in the contract, but I want to negotiate with the supplier specific prescription of about quality. Before I talked about software,
Yeah.
it must all be of high quality. Perfect. We have tools that can make a static analysis of the software. So I can define with the supplier, not simply high. I want from A, B, C, A, maximum level. Okay, I want A because this is a critical software.
Right.
And this is defined with the supplier when I work with the supplier. This is the fourth level.
Right. And just to add from my point of view, I think it's a lot about the risk in the pre-qualification or the assessment phase. You'll have to talk about the risk involved quality. If it is, like you said, the top level, you have to get a penalty clause or something in the contract so that it is safeguarded in your phase. Okay, so I think I just wanted to add one more topic here. We wanted to talk about the RFXs also. You have been doing a lot of RFX designing and all. Tell us about how you see RFXs or what you do about RFX. Why are there 100 questions in an RFX? That's another question that I have. But yeah, that's another topic altogether. But yeah, tell us about your experience with RFX and what are your thoughts?
Okay. Well, first of all, if we look at an RFI, RFQ, RFP, NATB, and so on, they are not a standalone process. They are steps within a greater process, a bigger process that starts with the needs and goal gatherings. This is really important. And if you call them tools, RFI, RFQS, and so on, we can say we can choose the right tools responding to two questions, answering to two questions. Why should I use this tool? And what will I do with the outcome of this tool? I'll make an example. I have a project. I want to ask to a set of suppliers an RFP, a proposal for my project. But I have a really, really long list of suppliers. And so it could be not efficient and not effective to ask for each of these long list of suppliers a proposal. So an idea could be I can use an RFI, request for information, to select a subset of this long list. And so the question could be, why should I use an RFI? Because I want to select a subset. It's a really long list. I can't read. I can draw in a CO paper. And okay, why? Because I want to select a subset. What will I do with this information? I want to send to them, to the selected suppliers, my RFP. And these two questions, why and what will I do, helps us also to define what to put in this tool, what questions ask to the supplier, and how to evaluate the evaluation criteria. I want to ask something that I use for a selection. So the why and what is really, really important. And this reasoning applies also to the RFP itself.
Right.
What will I ask and how will I use the outcome? And this
Right.
also helps us to ask the good questions, the really
Right.
important questions, not simply nice to have questions. It's
Right. Yes.
what what we really need for that goal.
Right.
And this leads to, I think, to two approaches to the relationship with the supplier. I can use a tool or a set of these tools together, and I can have two approaches. An approach could be, I simply want to select the best supplier, and the next step will be negotiate with that supplier terms and conditions,
Right.
service definition, prices, pricing models, and so on. Another approach is I know exactly what I want. I prepare a contract, I prepare a service definition, prices model, and so on, and so I want a process to award this contract. Maybe there is at the end a little step, a little phase of negotiation for final refinements. This
Right.
happens when I have, for example, a service in more contracts, because all, each of the contract covers an area of my company. So I don't want to define a service, my service and create entropy to define a service for each supplier. I know exactly what I want. I can evolve. I can do something better. But I don't negotiate each time with each supplier the same kind of service. What approach is better depends on the situations.
Right.
Depends on the
Yes.
goals and the situation. There is not
Right.
one solution that fits for all.
Right. And that is something I think we should all make a mind of, that there is no one solution for everything. You have to know the right scenario and what is the solution, and you should be clear about your objective, like you said, right? What is it that you want and how you want to do it? I think we already overshot a lot. I think we are almost like 1 hour's time. If I don't see any more question, I see one. Thank you for Rodrigo, and he says that this has been very insightful. So thank you, Michele, for that. I think I see a thank you from Karima and Namadi. So all are thanking you. Alex also.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to you, Super Team, for inviting me. And thank you for all people connected and for the questions. Thank you very much.
Yes,
It's
thank you
been a
from
pleasure.
Richard and Harold as well. Thank you, Karima. And thank you, Michele, from all of us. It was very nice discussing. I think we could have gone for another hour, and you could have told us a lot about how to do things and all. But I think there is always a next time. I would keep that as the closing statement, that there would be a next time, and we will talk soon.